Hey guys, if you enjoy this podcast and would like to help out, you can go to www.patreon.com/7lamb. That's the number 7, LAMB. You can donate as little as $1 a month, and it definitely helps us out. You can also get a lot of bonus content on Patreon that we release weekly. That's bloopers, outtakes, extra podcasts, early episodes. Once again, you can donate as little as $1 a month. It's www.patreon.com/7lamb. That's the number 7, LAMB. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
Okay. Episode 7, Across America. Welcome. We miss you so much. We haven't been able to stop talking about it.
About talking about you.
About how much we
listener.
miss you personally.
Mm-hmm.
Last we left, you had just entered New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
You'd been run over by that bus, but the shaman had woken you up, and now like everything had kind of like a red tint. All these foods had a metallic taste.
And Cody came back.
Cody
was there.
Yeah.
He was the one driving the bus.
Yeah. Right. So go from there.
Okay.
I mean, this is captivating stuff.
Yeah, okay. So, that's not what happened.
Oh, you guys, you know I like to kid around. Oh.
They knew.
I like to throw some wrenches in every once in a while and add to Robert's hilarious hijinks. That being said, my name is Jack Austin. I'm your host of Across America. With me, sometimes, Robert Lamb.
And when I'm not here, Jack will talk about my walk.
Yeah, and I will make up everything that he's done, and it'll probably be a heck of a lot more entertaining, I'll tell you.
For sure. That New Orleans story was quite fetching.
This guy will put you to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Seriously.
No.
Right.
Where did we leave off?
We left off at you guys were in a hotel the night after Cody left. You weren't really talking. And your mom, shout out to the mom.
Hey, Mom.
Hooked you up.
Thanks, Mommy.
With a hotel. Yeah, Mom, thanks. We may not have Robert without you.
That's true.
As a matter of fact, I
probably
know
is
for a
true.
fact we wouldn't have Robert without you.
Unless I'm adopted.
Right. Which, is a beautiful, beautiful miracle. It's a wonderful thing if you were adopted.
Yeah.
And you probably had a pop out there that loved you.
Oh, he's there somewhere.
Oh, man. All right, so take it away.
All right, so episodes 1 through 6 were the BC era, before Cody.
Right.
Now, episode 7 and on is the AC.
Right.
After Cody.
Yes.
So this is the first day of walking after Cody.
The first day of walking without AC.
Without AC. Not really.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
That was terrible. I shouldn't have said that, and I regret it.
That was a cool joke, man.
Cool joke when I said it off the air. Even better when I delivered it here.
Yep.
On the old airwaves.
Anyways.
Okay, folks, and that's you can find our stuff at 7lamb. No, I'm just kidding.
No, the first day of walking after Cody, after he left, was again quiet like the day before. Me and Tony just, I think we talked a little bit about it, and Tony said, I'm not going to quit. And I was like, no, neither am I. Like, let's just do this. So that's what we did. And I remember when we were at the hotel, we were kind of talking about where, like, I knew which road we were going to take, but we knew that there was also a very big mountain range coming up. It's called the North Cascades mountain range. And I don't even know if it's a range. It's mountains, whatever. But it was coming up and is going to take a while to get through there. So we were kind of nervous because we were going to be like doing some real hiking. I mean, granted, we'd still be on roads, but it gets pretty high up.
How long, you don't have to know this off the top of your head, how long was the pass through the mountains?
Actually, I'm going to look that up. I know that we were about 40 miles from the last town before we got into the mountain range.
Right.
So we were heading towards this town of Marble Mount. I think that's how you pronounce it. There was a few more towns before that, but once we hit Marble Mount, that was the last little town, and they really had nothing there. And while we were walking up to that, I mean, it took about 2 days to get there. We kind of just camped on the side of the road. I remember one of the days that we camped on the side of the road, it was like near Rockport. I think we were looking for a place to camp, and this car just kind of drove up to us, like from a dirt road. And they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" We're like, "Oh, we're trying to camp somewhere." Or no, you know what? They parked the car and they got out and they were walking down the dirt road
towards you.
Yeah, no, like kind of like past us. And I remember I saw them and they like looked over at me, and I think Tony was going to the bathroom or something, and they like looked over at me and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just waiting for my friend. We're walking, we're trekking through," because they saw the backpacks, and they're like, "Oh, well, if you need a place to camp, just camp right there." And we're like, "Oh, do you live around here?" They're like, "Yeah, we live like, down this road." They're like, "You're good there." I'm like,
Yeah,
"That's
don't
kind of
come
weird."
down our road.
Yeah, I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "You sure?" They're like, "Yeah, you can camp right there." It's like this big. It's kind of like this huge field.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "All right." So when Tony came back, he's like, "Who are those people?" I'm like, "I don't know. They're just walking down this road." And they said they lived over there. They said, "We can camp here." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right." So we just camped there.
They said don't camp near their house.
Yeah, they said don't camp. The only thing I was scared about is, I know the odds of it happening are not like, it's not going to happen. But if they showed up in rabbit masks or fox masks with like knives,
any sort of woodland
at midnight,
creature.
at midnight while we're camping there, then I know like this is why they wanted us to camp there.
Yep, camp right there.
Perfect
Just
spot.
that spot right there. Don't camp nowhere else.
But luckily, they didn't do that. So we actually just camped right there, and it was fine. And then after that, Tony was looking up kind of like some different paths, and he found like this dirt road. It was like a nature trail or something, and we followed that. The only thing about the nature trail, though, is I actually liked walking on the road because I had I was wheeling my backpack, and it didn't bother my feet. Like I had like that cushion, not the Dr. Scholl stuff, but one of those gels.
The padded socks, all that
it was really
stuff.
good. But Tony liked walking on like the grass and dirt better. So when he found that trail, I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. We can walk on that. We've been walking on the road for a long time." But then when we got on the trail, I couldn't wheel my backpack worth shit. Like it sucked. It just kept like turning, and I'd be pulling it for a while, and then it'd start getting like harder to pull, and then I'd turn around, there'd just be like a mound of dirt like on the backpack. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
And Tony would be like, "Just pick up the backpack.
Just pick it
Robert.
up and walk." Except I still had my laptop. It was heavy, man. It was
12-pound laptop.
Yeah,
that laptop's going to get heavier and heavier as this podcast goes on.
Yeah, by the end of it, it's going to be like a 30-pound laptop.
I listened to an episode the other day of Across America, and I was like, "Yeah, it's a 6-pound laptop." I was like, "That's funny."
Yeah.
Now it's a 12-pound laptop.
Honestly, I don't remember. I think it was like 6 pounds, but actually, it had the external battery I had with it too, and that added like another 1.5 pounds. So it probably was like almost 8 pounds.
Right,
but,
and you gotta account for the gig for Slender Man.
Yeah, I had to put that.
How much does a digital gigabyte weigh? Oh boy.
Oh, those things are heavy.
I know solitaire at least weighs as much as a deck of cards.
Not real solitaire.
I'm here all week.
Not digital solitaire.
You're right.
Right. Now, I remember just walking on that trail, and it was kind of like a pain in the ass. But I did like that we weren't next to traffic, so I didn't have to like always be looking forward and not, because sometimes I would zone out, and then I would just make sure I'm not walking into traffic.
Yeah.
So I remember since we were on the dirt trail, I had some phones loaded up on my iPod, or phones, Jesus Christ. I had some videos, like movies, uploaded onto my iPod. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch a movie.
Walk and watch Shane while I head on down the trail.
I actually forget what I watched. I think I watched like some movie that came out that year.
Herbie Fully Loaded?
No, you know what it was? It was Hitchcock. It was about Alfred Hitchcock. I don't know. Had Anthony Hopkins in it. So I watched that, but I actually watched the whole movie on my phone while walking on this trail.
Did you? So you had headphones in?
Yeah.
Because when I'll go on nature trails, well, I'm not walking across the country. I'm a big nature trail guy. I love them. I can always spot something, but you don't have your headphones in. You can't hear if there's maybe howling around you or something.
Nah, I wasn't worried about it too much because the nature trail, it wasn't that far off from the road, Like,
Yeah.
we could still, every once in a while, like, it would kind of get closer to the road. And I think at one point, the nature trail even had, like, it stopped, and there was just, like, down trees everywhere.
Right.
So we went back to the road, and we walked across, like, the road for, like, a little bit, and then found the nature trail again, and then jumped back on it.
Nice.
But, yeah, it wasn't, like, that far from the road for the most part.
Yeah.
So I wasn't worried about, like, bears or coyotes.
See, I'm not bringing that up just to be funny. I have, like I said, family that lives in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to train a lot for boxing and kickboxing and all that kind of stuff. I did forever. And I was out there trying to do my training regiment, and I had my uncle's dog, this German short hair, and we got about 5 miles out on the trail, and he was getting kind of running really erratically, and he was running near me. I took my headphones off, and there was howling all over the place. And I was like, oh,
Shit.
this is not great. And
Dude.
I'll say this, Max, shout out to Max, you left me to die,
Really?
you German short hair.
Oh, man.
He was gone.
Jerk dog.
Met me at the car.
Really?
Met me at the car. Anyway, okay.
He wasn't going to mess with that.
Right. No.
You know, like a pack
He's
of like 12
he's like,
wolves.
hey, idiot, I don't know if you realize what that is.
No, and you know, you say that, and I do know that, like, people warned us, you know, be careful of bears, and if you do, especially we're heading to this mountain pass. There's bears up there. They said, you know, all you have to do is just, you know, make a lot of noise.
Make
and stuff
yourself
like that.
big.
Yeah, make yourself big, which is very hard for me to do. And then, just make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
But the thing was, like, the road wasn't too far away, and actually, a lot of the times the nature trail would kind of divert, and we would see some houses on the left. So it wasn't
Right.
like we were in the woods.
Okay, so you're not in the
yet.
thick of it.
Yeah, it wasn't like too bad. So, I just watched my movie and dragged my backpack through like dirt and leaves for a long time.
You got stubborn with it.
Yeah. At some point, I think I did pick up my backpack for a little bit, but it was just too heavy to like carry. I didn't want to do it, so
Yeah.
I just dragged it as hard as I could through dirt. But yeah, eventually we reached Marble Mount, which was this very small town. Like, I think it had a
Population
population like 20.
20.
I mean, maybe there's a little bit more. Maybe it was you know what? Maybe not. There's a gas station. There's a convenience store next to the gas station.
Interesting.
There was I think one diner across the street, and then there might have been like a house or two. Like, it was not much.
Right.
I mean, you can look it up on Google
That's
Maps.
that town you see in the movie where the vigilante shows up and lays waste to the town while
townsfolk.
fighting whatever bad guy.
Yeah.
That's that town.
It's like the Magnificent Seven showing up to defend against, you know, that big posse of bad guys,
Yeah.
and as they try to murder the 20 Mexicans. You know what I mean? That's what it was. It was a small
Powerful
town.
visionary.
Thank you.
Powerful vision there from Robert Lamb, folks.
No, it was funny though, when I was on that dirt trail pulling my backpack, I actually messed up the handle a little bit.
Oh, God.
So when we got to Marble Mount, I was like, oh, this sucks. Like, I need a screwdriver because one of the screws in the handle came undone a little bit, and it was still working, but I didn't want it to like fly
Your Swiss
off.
Army knife didn't have one?
No,
What?
let me think. No, it didn't have one. You know, now that I think of it, yeah, why didn't it have one?
Must have been a Greek Army knife, am I right, folks?
Anyways, so we went to this convenience store next to the gas station, and I think we were resting there, and I go, you know what, I'm going to go inside and just see if the guy who works here has a screwdriver or something.
Right. See if
So
you
I
can help
go,
me.
so I go in there, and it's actually like, it's a grocery store, a convenience store. It's even a tool shop in the side. Like, it had everything. So I went
Yeah.
in there. I'm like, oh, they actually have tools like hanging up on the wall. So I talked to the guy. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a screwdriver. My backpack messed up, and I like brought my backpack in, showed him. He goes, oh yeah, we got screwdrivers. So I bought one of them. It was just a cheap little one. And then he goes like, what are you doing? Like, you're pulling this backpack? I go, yeah, I'm walking across the country. And
He goes, Lamb?
yeah, Robert Lamb. And I go, Daddy.
He goes, come give Pop a hug. Your
Like,
walk is
"Dad."
over.
Yeah, you found me. No, so he goes, you're walking across the country, like that's awesome. And I go, yeah. And I'm like, I'm with my friend right now, but my backpack was kind of messing up. I wanted to fix it. He goes, well, you're about to embark on quite the road ahead. He's like, you're going through the North Cascades. And I go, how like rough is it? He goes, well, if you stay on the roads, it's not too bad. There's a lot of nature trails and stuff. He's like, but just stay on the road and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's like, but it gets pretty high up. Like, it gets almost 5,000 feet. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And he's like, and it's, you know, I'll look it up in a little bit, but he said, like, it's going to take a while to walk through there, depending on how much you're walking a day. I go, well, we average
about 6 miles.
Yeah,
a day.
we do about 2 miles a day.
I think we'll be just fine.
So you're going to have to live on there. You're going to live in the mountain range.
5,000 feet up.
Yeah, so he's like, it's going to take a while. I go, we do about 15 miles. We can maybe do about 20, maybe a little bit more. I'm like, but my friend's carrying his backpack, so it's a little bit rougher on him. So he's like, yeah. He's like, it's going to be rough. He's like, but you'll probably be able to get through it. He's like, there's a lot of waterfalls, like places where you'll be able to find water. He's like, food, though, you might want to stock up on food, like, now.
Yeah.
And I go, well, we already have some food, but we might buy some more stuff from you. He's like, yeah, definitely. You can do that. And he actually gave us a discount on some of the food. And then after that, I went outside. I was talking to Tony, and then the guy came outside. He's like, actually, if you guys need a place to sleep tonight, like if you don't want to start heading up there yet, you guys are welcome to camp out in the back of the convenience store. Right. And I go, oh, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, I own that gas station, and that's my house right there. And this is my convenience store. He's like, so all of this is our property. He's like, you can stay here. I've let other people camp here too. And I go, oh, like that'd be pretty cool. So I asked Tony. Tony's like, yeah, definitely. I think it was like maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon already. So we were only going to get like 3 hours to walk anyways. So we ended up camping in the back, and the guy actually said, like, listen, I'm throwing away a lot of food. My wife just went and got some more food for us, and we're going to be marking prices and everything. He's like, but there's a lot of food we got to throw out because it's expired. He's like, if you want it, you can have anything that's expired.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. I mean, it was like crackers and stuff. He's like, it's not going to be bad. It's just we can't sell by
legally.
that date.
They have to get rid of it,
right?
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, we'll take it. So we took like a bunch of expired,
Heck
like,
yeah, you did.
crackers and like not like stuff that looked like Nutter Butters, like just random off-brand stuff. So we took all that.
I imagine you and Tony out in back of the convenience store eating the expired food, laughing like Chris Farley and Billy Madison.
Oh, dude, it
Who
was
ate
great.
30 bag lunches?
Dude, it was it was amazing. I just remember I went in there. He's like, oh, I got some. He was eating like some of the crackers too, and he's like, hey, I'm done with these. You guys want the rest? I'm like, sure. So
You want these crackers I'm eating?
I'm like, sure.
Hold on
so
a second.
Took those.
I don't want you.
Spit some into my mouth like a baby bird. That's the only way you get this food for free.
Hey, Mama Bird, Baby Bird challenge. You want it, right?
Yeah. So that night we slept there, and then the next morning when we woke up, I think Tony's feet were like kind of hurting because the first thing he said was like, we have this place here. This guy's giving us food. We need to stock up. He's like, let's do a rest day before we head up.
It's not a terrible idea.
Yeah,
You're
so
walking up a mountain.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right. So the next day I went to the guy and I go, hey, is it okay if we stay one more day? Like, we're just going to kind of camp out here.
We're just going to come loiter at your store.
Yeah, we're just going to hang out like Jay and Silent Bob and just kind of lean against there and play loud music.
By the way, you got any crystal meth, sir?
So he was like, no, that's fine. He's like, that's cool. And I think, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we just went to this convenience store and bought stuff and brought it back to the tent and ate. Dude, and this is, I forgot about
this. Did you
sleep?
So you say there's 3 properties here, the gas station, his house,
it was
and
all
the convenience
in the same
store.
kind of area, yeah.
Right, but you say you're camping out back. Are you guys throwing a camp on the concrete?
No. It was like the convenience store. It's hard to describe. I'm like kind of showing Jack through hand motions. But the convenience store was here.
So he's got the figure 8 hand cage.
Mm-hmm. And then the gas station was next to it.
An identical hand cage right next to it.
Next to it. And then his house was a little bit further back.
Okay, now he brought it towards me.
Right.
Same hand cage, same diameter.
Exactly.
But you guys get it.
But then it's all grass back here.
Perfect.
And that's where we just kind of camp back there. He also had like a trailer and some other stuff back there. So we camped back there in the grass. And then he also had a picnic table like next to his convenience store. Now remember me and Tony were hanging out there and this guy, I don't even know who the guy was. He comes over and he's eating a banana and he sits down and that guy was racist. That guy
was he?
He went on like a thing about black people and it was
yikes.
He used some words that I wouldn't use and I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is Washington.
Right. That's where you're like, oh my goodness gracious. When you meet that person, you're like, oh, this person might be cool. And that one thing comes out of their mouth where you're like, oh, my gosh.
We could have been friends.
How do I tell you to leave me alone?
You know what was great, though, was me and Tony were talking to him about the walk, and he was kind of like almost kind of hippie-ish. He was talking about the land and what he did for a living and how he loved being out here in the wilderness and all this kind of stuff. And then like he kind of just dropped the N-word like so nonchalantly, like while he's talking about something, that me and Tony like looked at each other and we're like, did he say that or did we just imagine
He's testing the waters with you guys to see if you are kindred spirits. And as long as I've known you, I could say absolutely not. Same here.
The moment we're just like,
oh,
did you? What was that? And he goes, oh, I said trigger. I was playing with my gun and I pulled the trigger. We're like, all righty.
I got my eye on you, Hillman.
No, he dropped the N-word and we're like, all right, that was kind of weird. And I think he only did it like once or twice, but it was just very like sporadic.
Deliberate.
And, it was just very like weird, like the way he like positioned those words in his storytelling. But anyways, we talked to him for a little bit and then he kind of disappeared and then
left with the remnants of his banana.
Yeah. And I'm assuming that the shop owner wasn't racist.
Yeah.
But maybe. Who knows? He's a nice guy, but
Town
we're white.
20 people. Who knows?
He was married to an Asian woman.
There you go.
I do put that into the story.
Yeah, that's in the walk, folks.
That's in the fictional story that I'm writing. You were like, why's she got to be Asian? I'm like, why'd you make that like such a note?
In the script, it makes point that she's Asian, and I was like, why do we need to know this? What do we need to know that she's Asian?
I don't know.
And your exact response to me is like, because she was, man. I don't know what else to tell you.
It was just weird because like everybody else in this town was like white, and like he was just married to this nice little Asian woman.
And the minute you said that, I imagined the guy who's owned all the gas stations and stuff being an old war vet.
Yeah, that's what he might have been. He might have been. He was an older. He was like probably in his 60s or a little bit older.
I'm trying to think of the line you wrote that made me laugh so much. And I
don't remember. What
I think I said "bye, Asian wife" or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. No, it was just weird. But like anyways, after that we ended up just going to sleep.
So
and
your staunch racism aside, they were sweet people.
They were nice. Even the guy who dropped the N-word, he was nice to us, but he just seemed to be racist.
Right.
He's this white guy, older white guy with a thick beard and crazy hair, talking about trees and the
one
wilderness.
thing that seems to be the common factors when you run into people is they're one of three things. They're super, super creepy.
Yeah.
They're very generous and very nice.
Right.
Or they're extremely standoffish towards you.
Yeah.
Creepy as in the guy who was like, come over here.
Yeah, stand closer.
Wait, can you back up?
Yeah, back up, stand closer.
Back up like 4 inches. Okay, now come closer. Now
and then his wife's eating the onion. Yeah,
eating an onion. And the lady, the first place you stopped to camp out was like, you can't camp anywhere in the state of Washington. I'm sorry. You've got to leave.
Yeah, you got to get out of here.
And the other guy was like, I've got free booze, like 15 minutes this way walking. Come on down.
That's what this walk was about. Not only the challenge, but the experiences and the meeting of people.
Yeah.
I figured we weren't going to meet a ton of people because we were just going to be on the side of the road for a long time, but we met a decent range of people.
And you know what? You said that kind of sarcastically because I can see your face, but it's absolutely true.
It is.
I mean, it's about the perseverance and walking across the country. That's a great accomplishment. I've never done it.
Right.
But the people that you meet in your interactions, it's so interesting to see how people are all across the country.
It really is, because honestly, like even with like the racist commenter, like that wasn't something I was expecting. That's something like I jokingly would say is like a southern small town thing,
right?
But
here
weird.
You found
in
it
Washington
in the northwestern corner.
Yeah, but again, maybe it's just more not necessarily a southeastern kind of thing. Maybe it's just a small town thing.
Yeah.
There was no black people around in that town, or even I don't think I saw a black person until Nebraska. Like, not even lying. Maybe they just that's how it is.
Yeah. I don't know. Any of our African American listeners, feel free to let us know.
I'm not racist. I'm saying it was wrong. Okay.
Dude, there's stereotypes everywhere. And
there is.
More often than not, once you go there and you see it for yourself, it is completely opposite of what you've heard.
Dude, And I have like stories which I'm not going to get into now, but like especially like with the racial stuff and like all of the heated debates now going on in the news, like on my walk, there are some things that like can kind of play to both sides of people's arguments that I've seen walking through the country. And I think it's like it's pretty cool like when I talk to people who say something who are maybe like more conservative or people who are more liberal, and I'm just like, well, I have an argument to be more on the liberal side, but I also have an argument to be more on the conservative side. I've talked to people, like I've seen, and that's one thing that I actually liked about this walk is meeting different people. And like, again, most of the time I was on the side of the road, just walking for 10 hours a day and not talking to anybody. But then there were some times where I just met people and like, for the most part, everybody was generally nice. And I think that was cool.
Yeah. Like I said, my family up there when I went to Washington, I was like, is everybody ultra nice up here? Or what's the deal?
Hey, so far they were.
Right.
But again, I am a white male, so I don't know if it'd be different.
Right.
But for me, it was good.
That's another point to make. I mean, hey, I'm a white male as well, so who knows if that's why they're being nice.
And that's something that I will point out, and I'm not saying that it would be any different for anybody else, but I will say that, honestly, if I was a girl or if I was a person of color, I don't know if I would feel as comfortable walking through some of those towns.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying anything would have happened, and I'm not saying, like, all the people who are nice to me would be mean to anybody else. Maybe they would just, even if you don't like a person, they would probably just ignore you or something.
Yeah.
But, for me, like, that's just something that, I don't know, because there were times where I even didn't feel safe necessarily. So I couldn't imagine being a girl and being alone on the side of the road. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, man, and it's absolutely true. That's another podcast for another time about how we see people treating women. Oh my God! Yeah. But anyway, I think that's a good stopping point right before you guys are heading into the Cascades.
Definitely.
So I will give some people some much needed information that they probably don't have and have never had in their life. Mm-hmm. So get out a pen and paper. This is great. You can find us on Facebook.com/7Lamb Podcast, number 7. You can hit us at Twitter at 7Lamb Podcast with the number 7. Email us at the number 7Lamb Podcast at gmail.com or at blogtalkradio.com/SEVEN Lamb.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff.
If you do have questions for me or that you want Jack to ask me, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, or email us.
Yes.
At 7Lamb Podcast and just ask a question.
Hashtag across America.
Yeah. And just ask any question that you want, and I will answer it.
Any question you have.
Any question. Doesn't even have to be about the walk.
Doesn't even have to be for Robert. You can ask me a question.
Ask Jack a question.
Sure, I'll answer anything you want.
Does he enjoy asking me questions? That's a question.
Yeah. We'll save that one for another time.
Yeah, that's my question for you next time.
Yeah, and just here's one. Don't bother asking it. Where did he poop?
Oh, that one's coming up.
That's the most commonly asked question, and that's our cliffhanger.
You know what?
Every week.
Before we go, I do want to say that my friend, a coworker of mine who works at Derby, now I told him about this podcast, and he listened to it. And the other day, when he was coming to like relieve me at like my table because I'm a poker dealer.
Yeah.
He was like walking by and he just goes like, "Hey man, so where did you poop?" And I go, "What are you?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "No, where'd you poop, man?"
Hey,
I go,
"Where'd you poop?"
I'm like, "What?"
Come on, man.
He's like, "The walk." I go, "Oh shit!" Like you're actually listening to it,
right? So now you're listening. Okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny.
All right. Moment of truth.
Yes.
Robert.
Yeah.
Where did you poop?
This has been a 7 Lamb production.